Howdy, with this video I want to go over the journal entries, particularly journal number 9, where I'm going to show you how to get into the Northeast State databases and find sources for your medical essay, or at least possible sources. One goal of this class is for you to be able to use the databases and be functional within them. Number 7, you're going to go to the Purdue Online Writing Lab and read, don't read word for word this APA formatting section. Just kind of go through it and kind of get a general sense of what's going on there. The advertisement they started putting on this is very aggravating. We want to make sure we're in APA 7. That's the latest version of APA. Again, APA stands for American Psychological Association. And it just kind of goes through some of the general guidelines, major paper sections. We are going to have, also make sure you're in the student side of things that separate us between student and professional essays. So make sure you're looking at the student title page. We are going to have an abstract page where it's basically just a summary of your essay. Please don't worry about that too much until you have your essay written. It's very difficult to summarize an essay you haven't written yet, right? So we're not going to worry about that, but that'll be page 2 in your essay. And then after that, you'll get into the body of the essay and then the references page, which again is just the APA version of the works cited page. It's just a bibliography page. So just kind of know it's here as a reference. Get that ad out. They got a whole guide here. I don't expect you to memorize this, but just kind of know it's here. So when you start writing your essay, you have a place to start looking this stuff up. And of course, you're going to probably ask me questions, especially if we're not in class and you're starting to write on your essay. We're going to have some questions coming, obviously. The other one is the sample student essay. Ours is not going to get quite this complicated. But it shows you the sample student essay, shows you the title page. We are going to have an abstract page on page 2, so the essay will actually start on page 3. But you're going to notice with the citations, you're going to still use the author's last name or the first word on your works cited page, but they want the year of publication as part of the citation, the in-text citation. You can do it like this, according to Fial, and then put the year of publication there. Or you can do it after the summary paraphraser quote, like they have here with Lewis, 1996. But they're putting the year of publication there, particularly with a medical essay like this. Probably want the most recent information, right? If you're doing something about cancer research and your sources from 1982, everything has changed since 1982, including me. But all the research about cancer has just gone through so much more information, and just technology has changed everything, right? Also, they do want the page number. If you have one, we're going to be using quite a bit of internet sources. We may not have page numbers. But just kind of look through it. Again, don't try to read this entire essay and word for word or anything, but just kind of notice how the citations are starting to work. And how they're using the first word on the references page, the bibliography entry, the year of publication, and a page number if they have one. So there's one with everything right there. But kind of notice it. You can use section headers if you want to. Probably don't want to go beyond the section 1, the level 1 header. Ours is a fairly short essay. I know it doesn't feel that way when you're writing it. It doesn't feel that way when I'm grading it sometimes, but it's a fairly short essay, so we may not have all these subheadings. That might be a little too much for what we're doing. But just kind of notice the citations. Notice that summary, paraphrase, quotes, short quotes, and long quotes are exactly the same. One nice thing about MLA is they've kind of moved towards APA in that component aspect. So students don't have to relearn all that. You're going to start seeing them using more than one source at a time. That's what that semicolon is separating. They're using 2 sources for this information. Hopefully you're not doing that. You're going to be able to separate your information out for each source. It'll get into figures. You label it figure 1. You give it a title. Then afterwards, you want to kind of tell us what it is, and generally, you want to go ahead and give the citation there as well. There's a table. I probably won't use tables too much in this essay. But then you get to the references page. This is where the headache is. The bibliography entries are just a little bit, just different enough to drive you a little nuts. For example, they're still using the author's last name, but then the author's initial. Here we have 2 authors. Then you want the year of publication, the article title. Notice they changed the capitalization, only the first words, first word after in the entry and the first word after a colon are capitalized, and then proper nouns are capitalized. Everything else is not. If you've only done MLA before, this will drive you a little nutty. It drives me nutty when I look at it. It's like, capitalize that. Why are you doing that? But then the journal is italicized. And when I show you how to use the databases, you're going to kind of go like, because the databases show you how to do this, which I'll show you here in a second. But again, you're not trying to read this word for word, but just notice how it's a little bit different, and that is something you can do, right? Some people think APA, oh my gosh. It's different and it's a pain, but you can do this. It's not radically different from MLA. So that's going to be number 7. Just want you to kind of go through some of the differences you're seeing, and I'm kind of curious to know if you've done an APA paper before. High schools are starting to get into that a little bit, not just doing MLA all the time, because a lot of what you do in college is APA. For psychology, sociology, nursing, if you're going into nursing, you will be using APA format. Some speech classes, anything in social sciences is going to use APA usually. Number 8, I want you to discuss some possible topics for that APA medical essay. Just kind of work through that a little bit. And just kind of trying to get you to now to the mindset of how am I going to narrow this down for a relatively short essay. Am I going to be able to find sources? Generally, if it's a fairly common ailment, you are going to be able to find sources. So it's a very rare disease or condition. You want to make sure there's information out there that you can use in your essay. Generally, it's not a problem. There's so much information out there on the internet. It's hard to not find information. But I've had 1 or 2 topics where the person just ran into nothing because but the concern they were talking about was so rare. And for number 9, and this is why I'm doing this video, I want you to go to the Northeast State databases and find 3 possible sources for your APA medical essay. I want you to learn how to use the databases and have that be kind of the first place you go to find some information. I'll show you why here in a second. I just want you to, for this one, I just want you to create 3 properly formatted reference space entries for those 3 sources that you find in the database. And of course, this entry may not be 150 words, probably will be, but we'll see. All right, so for number 9, we're going to go to the Northeast State databases. And to do that, we're going to go to the Northeast State homepage, not D2L. Make sure you see the bear there, and we're here to get you there and all that good stuff. And of course, as always, give to Northeast State, so you know you're there if they're asking for money. But we're going to come to the Students tab up here at the top left. And we're going to go down to Library. And we want online databases right here on this toolbar. Not quite a toolbar. I'm not sure what you call that. But anyway, and once you get here, you want to go to H for Health. And this Health and Wellness or this Health and Wellness Gale 1 file are probably where you want to be. If you start getting into other health databases, these are quite often doctors speaking to other doctors, and it's just going to go over most of our heads, at least mine. I'm going to go to Health and Wellness. If this looks familiar, if you've done this kind of research in another class and gotten onto the databases at Crockett, these are going to be the same databases. These are the Tennessee Electronic Library databases, and all schools use it because it's free. It's not free, our taxes pay for it, but ain't nothing free. This should be the same username and password you used to get into D2L. If you've changed your password to get into D2L, which you should have, you may have to go back to your birthday in 6 digits. But your username should remain pretty consistent. All right. So topics of interest, obviously coronavirus is at the top of the list for people, but you can come down here to diseases and conditions, or you can do a search up here. Sometimes it's if you got a fairly common concern, just coming to diseases and conditions can be pretty kind of a quick way to do your research. But you can see there's all kinds of different stuff. We'll go to, let's try lung cancer. And what you're going to get is an overview, and you can click on read more, and it'll give you more information. And what you're going to get is a fairly an authoritative discussion of the disease. It's going to be written in layman's terms, in other words, or lay people's terms, being sexist there. It's going to be in language we can all understand. It's written for college and high school students doing research on a medical issue, like us. Um, and you can come down and you'll see all kinds of good information. They'll also give you additional resources out there on the internet, fairly reliable. And one thing that's really, really cool is they have a citation generator within the databases. So if you're looking at like, well, I don't need MLA9, I need APA 7, boom, there's your entry right there. And you can copy and paste that for journal number 9, and you got one of your journal number 9 entries. And it might be an entry used for your annotated bibliography and in your essay, right? If you're looking at lung cancer, this might be a pretty good source there, right? You can also do a search. The more you can narrow down the concern, like small cell lung cancer versus large cell lung cancer or something like that, you can come down to this reference area. This Gale Encyclopedia of Cancer is a good source if you can find what you were looking for. I'm going to go ahead and click on reference. But all these different procedures, some very good information there. If you just want a general article on, say, small cell lung cancer, we'll click on this one. You might have to scroll down a little bit to find what you're looking for. Some of this might be like, whoa, that's a little more technical than I need to get into. But if you do start talking about particular medication, if you know, your Uncle Joe got prescribed tenofovir, or however you say that, there's a good article there on that particular treatment that you might want to use in your essay. But here's a good detailed discussion of small cell lung cancer, what it is, who gets it, causes and symptoms. You can see right there, looks like Uncle Joe was probably a smoker if he's suffering from this. You might be able to use a chart as one of your images in your essay. It goes through the symptoms, all the stuff you might want to use in the essay. This is a peer-reviewed article. It's up to date. These are excellent sources. And if you come down to the bottom, lots of good information. Sometimes you get some good gross out pictures too. But again, they'll take you to websites that might have more information, more reliable information. But you come down here to the citation generator, you click on APA 7, and boom, you got another one of your entries for journal entry number 9 and one for your annotated bibliography, and hopefully maybe a source you're going to use in your essay. A source like this is pretty good, so you're probably going to end up using this in your essay. This is another reason I'm only asking for 3 sources. Generally, the sources are going to start repeating the same information. I don't want you to just repeat information mindlessly. You just want to kind of use these different sources that may have slightly different information that might help your essay a little bit. But that's what I'm looking for journal number 9. You got to go to 3 possible things on the database. Go to that citation generator, copy and paste it into your journal entry, fix the formatting a little bit. But also notice on the references page, you still do the hanging indentation, and everything's still double spaced once. So not radically different there. If you have any questions about it, be sure to let me know, and we'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.